All right. Welcome to After Hours. Let's get after it. What questions are in the queue? Connor's got one. Connor's probably got an offense.
I know.
Yeah, what you said about me earlier, I didn't have a mic to defend myself. No, I had something about the definition between reconciliation and restoration.
Yes.
And what I found is that there are different situations in Scripture specifically where it's addressing a difference between reconciling and the restoration of a relationship. And it seems kind of like there's like a multi-step process in that. And you guys kind of addressed part of it in the episode where it starts with humility. It then moves to forgiveness. From forgiveness, then you get reconciliation. And after reconciliation, you get restoration. But it's a separate step because
I like this.
When Joseph's brothers sold him into slavery and then came to Egypt during the famine, they reconciled first. But it took more time than just, hey, we're sorry, now we're all buddy-buddy again. That relationship takes time to heal where you're able to...
That's really good.
Like, build trust again, and really repair the damage that was done. But it starts with, you have to, one, be humble enough to realize that something went wrong. Two, ask for forgiveness or seek forgiveness and then offer it if it's in your position to offer that forgiveness. And then the mutual reconciliation of like, we both know something went wrong here, we're acknowledging it, and we want to start the process of repairing that. And then the restoration process is actually doing the hard work of rebuilding that trust and rebuilding that relationship. What say you?
I like that.
Very well said.
Yes.
Yeah, I was thinking about Joseph throughout that, but I like what you're saying, Connor, because I think the tension we were trying to navigate is like the difference between reconciliation and restoration, where I feel like kind of what you're saying, reconciliation is almost like this mutual event that both parties choose to, okay, we're going to...
There's a part that I play, a part that you play.
Yeah. But then the potential restoration to follow would be a process. And so I like how you described it as like a linear thing, but not every situation is going to hit every one of those steps. You know what I mean? Like it might end simply at the forgiveness step because the other party doesn't mutually want to agree upon the reconciliation event per se, and then it certainly can't proceed in the process of restoration after that.
Yeah. And you're right. And going back to sort of like in the episode, we spoke to the house analogy. You know, the reconciliation would be you tear it down and you relay the foundation.
Yep.
Okay, so now you got something to build on. I like the idea of the restoration be, okay, now let's build some walls.
Yep.
Now let's see if time spent together, we're able to sort of rekindle.
Rebuild trust.
Rebuild where I can sit in your company and be unguarded a little bit. Or is it funky?
Yeah.
You know, because there is pain that's caused so deeply that, hey, I can reconcile with you. Why? Because we want to honor the Lord and we really want to put the offenses behind. But restoring, but I don't want to muddy that with restoration, with reconciliation. I do like how you said it, Boots, that reconciliation is an event. Restoration is the ongoing nurturing of said relationship. It's good.
Excellent commentary.
Yes, it is.
Okay. I feel like, Mike, did you have anything?
I do not.
He does not. I feel like the only other aspect that I wish we would have touched on maybe, but I didn't know where it fit in, is like what what practical boundaries people could put in place. Like, let's assume for a second that both parties are interested in the event of reconciliation, but one or more are not ready for the process of restoration. What does a healthy relationship, let's just give an example of, like, a family relationship.
Okay.
Where there was harm and wrong. They've reconciled, but they're not ready for that relationship to quite nurture again.
Sure.
Because I'm sure that the boundaries that are put in place can be interpreted as like, well, you didn't actually reconcile with me then if you don't want to have the relationship that we once had.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So any just general commentary you would give on just the concept of boundaries and how that can coexist with healthy reconciliation?
Yeah. I don't know if I have. I would say, if I was to be asked this question in the context of a certain specific situation and a certain specific relational dynamic, I think I could be more helpful. But generally speaking, I think boundaries are rather subjective to the offense called or the dynamic of the scenario. Again, I like to keep it in the natural context of, if you wrong me and I'm not ready to, hey, I don't want to go get dinner with you. That's a boundary that I get to wield, and that's my jurisdiction. Mm-hmm. I don't want to do that right now. That's too much bandwidth, too much time, too much emotional, effort. Right now, when I'm good and ready, I'm going to drop guards. I forgive you. I do forgive you. But when I'm ready for it, I'll move toward you. That boundary is largely predicated on the degree of pain caused. And Beck, what say you on that?
I don't think I have anything to say on that.
Okay. Yeah.
I think that makes sense. I can just hear people being like, oh, you forgive me, but you don't want anything to do with me. Mm-hmm. Like, make that make sense for me. You know what I mean? But,
right.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes it could just take time to get to that point, Like, you might not want, like, right away to start that restoration process. Like, you reconcile with someone, say, like, yeah, we both realized something went wrong, but right now I just need time away, like, put this relationship on pause and, like, pick it back up when, the one or the other person or both parties are ready to, like, actually start doing that work.
Yeah.
Sure.
Need time to process.
Yeah, time to process.
You know why I feel like this is hard to answer? Like, speaking to what Connor just said, hey, a person has the autonomy and the right to go, hey, I just need time. The problem is, Boots, I was raised in an era of where the truths of Scripture were created with such fundamental binary black and whites that I was raised in an era where Connor would be wrong for saying that.
That it's a process.
Yeah. Oh, that it's a process. I need time. I'm creating boundaries. I need to get well. When I'm good and ready, hey, I'll move toward you. They would call that weakness. That's not weakness. Connor's a human and a creature. When Connor says he's ready, Connor's ready. The problem is I have sort of swung a little bit in my it's not theological, because I think the mandate on the believer is to grow in Christ-likeness, to grow in Christian maturity, and to grow in self-sacrifice. But that does not mean that I get to call the ball on the autonomous nature of who Connor is. Connor should walk in Christian maturity and become sort of sacrificial enough to say, hey, when I'm ready, I'm going to move towards you. Yeah. But I don't get to dictate that.
Yeah.
I don't get to dictate that. And I don't get to create a binary objective rule to impose on him about that. So this does get this is where therapy comes into play. This is where Christian mature counselors and those that mentors walk alongside of you and sort of coach you. But people can be nasty, man.
Yeah.
And they can be sinful, and they can be egregious, and they can have deep, dark demons that, man, will hurt people bad. And so I'm much more reticent in my older age to say, just drop guard and be reconciled. Be reconciled, but keep your guards up. Be reconciled, but keep boundaries.
Yeah.
Be reconciled, but be wise as a serpent and harmless as a dove. Be shrewd, man, because you could get hurt until such a time is proven that you feel like it's safe to move again. That's just where I'm at. And that comes from experience more than just general principle.
Yep.
I wouldn't say that's a theological shift. I think that's just a more practical experience that you've got.
You're exactly right. Yeah, it's not theological because it doesn't change the nature of God.
No, and that truth of Scripture is still there. The truth of like, hey, you can move towards the reconciliation is still there, but sometimes you just can't force it. You just can't be like you said, drop guard to be reconciled.
Thanks for coming to After Hours.